Hello, everybody. James, Jen, Tim, and me, Ryan, here of the whole card where you find yourself today. Welcome to the table, and welcome to a first impressions video for Gates of Delirium from Renegade Games. We just finished playing this game not too long ago, and decided to give our first impressions of it. And I won, so I'm going to give my first impression of it.
Go in order.
So, Gates of Delirium is an area control game that has a little bit of a Cthulhu theme to it. You are throwing dudes on a map, and you decide whether you are sane or insane, or the first player of the round gets to decide if you are sane or insane. And you get to do certain actions with the cards in your hand, depending on what the first player decided to do. And you're going to get points in a various sort of ways. And it's my first overall impression is jang. The artwork is great for a Cthulhu themed board game. I absolutely love it when there is this much detail. Like the detail that you get on the cover, it does not disappoint. It is going to be in the box. The gates that you open with certain cards pretty much looks just like that, as well as the monstrosities that come through it. And artwork and components usually are big wins for me. Area control, generally speaking, is a pretty big win for me as well. And I gotta say that I like it for the most part. I think that it doesn't overstay its welcome. I think that it the ending might be too abrupt. Might be like my one gripe about it, because the way that the game ends is there's a stack of monstrosities, and once the last monstrosity comes through the gate, that's it. You go to endgame scoring, and the game is over. And I think that having that abruptness is kind of detrimental to anybody who would have gone after you in the turn order. And I don't know, there's something not quite right about it. It's not as cathartic as I would have wanted it to be, but that's my only gripe. I won, so I don't care. But what did you guys think about it? My overall first impression of it is that I really like it. I think it's a pretty good light to medium area control game.
You just finished second, right?
Yes, a second place. Perpetual second place. So
Never first. Never
whatever, I don't care. Never last. That's right. So I did enjoy the game.
Never more.
I don't care. So I did enjoy the game. It's so I think I've only played a few area control games. I've played like Small World and Immortals. I'm never a big fan of the take that sort of games, so like the swapping mechanism, but it wasn't too bad. Like that's the only thing that you can really mess with someone, but like it's not too bad. Like that's once in a while. You can't really focus on one person because you're kind of losing if you do that. You know, you have to try to separate yourself. Like there's no with the kingmaker, right? That's the phrase.
Yeah.
Not really. Like you can be kingmaker, but you're literally sacrificing your entire game for that. So I like that. Kind of.
I like me and James just like
I disagree.
Looked at each other like yeah.
I mean,
No,
if
there's
you
a
want
significant
to
amount of no.
there is. I'm not saying there isn't, but it's like
finish.
like I'm not saying there isn't. There absolutely is, but it's like you're literally sacrificing your entire game sort of for it. If you see someone's winning, you're like, well, I'm gonna stop you, but I'm gonna put my one person there to stop you, even though I can put my one person here to win. Whatever. Anyway.
I will say that at least in this first playthrough, there was a little bit of that with both me and Tim kind of targeting James just a little bit.
Yeah.
See, that's another reason I kind of like this game.
I wouldn't say I was targeting James.
No, it's just the way
I
the board
would.
was set up was that.
Yeah,
The board was definitely set up.
I was
that,
mostly just undoing the swaps that you did.
Yeah, but you weren't sacrificing your win in order to stop.
But there could have been a
him,
point
sort
where
of.
you would have swapped in an area where both people had like 2 or 3, and that would have changed who got the most points out of it.
Sure.
So like you are kind of choosing who's getting more points. So there is still a
which I guess I kind of did that towards the
I'm
end.
saying there is. I'm not saying there isn't.
like because you gave him 5 extra points.
I
right?
gave him 5 extra points to to not
That
really...
it didn't matter.
It didn't
in the
deny
game.
you anything.
No, but like that is clearly something that is Kingmaker E. Like you could have
Yes.
chosen to
A more optimal strategy for myself to put me in a better position than both of you, and I decided to go with
yes.
Well, actually, I didn't put you in a more disadvantageous position. I put him in a more advantageous position, which didn't really make a difference in the long run.
I mean, 5 points were the difference between last and third, but...
Well, 7, I think.
Oh, was it 7
I think it was
points?
50 and 57.
Well, anyway,
So-
I guess the reason I didn't sense that was because I stayed out of all of that nonsense.
No one swapped with Jen, so yeah, so you didn't feel the.
And yes, I was in
Because she
second
was just
place.
sitting there with her pages.
Thank you.
Yeah, she did.
That's
Oh,
right.
you did come
I
in
still
second.
come in second,
Yeah.
and I stayed out of that whole entire political mess because that's another reason I like the game. There's different ways to score. Like everyone is like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm gonna score this area, this area, this area." Like whatever, biatches. I'm gonna score points for my pages. That's right, 20 points on my pages.
Yeah.
So I do like that there's different ways to score if you're not into the whole. Take it. I'm gonna get you. Because I don't think did I swap with anyone else?
No,
No.
I never saw you swap. You were not involved in any of the take that.
I feel like I might have swapped
You swapped once.
Once. I think
You
I
did-
swapped
you did
once
swap
to
once.
make sure I kept my little area because I was getting that gate, whatever. Maybe once.
Make sure that we're right. Check the full playthrough video.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. If at all, once, no more than that. But I was concentrating on the runes, the pages, the maps, but I kept getting copies of the maps, so whatever. But I did like it because it had different ways of scoring. I always enjoy that because if you're not good at one aspect of the game, I like that there's other ways to kind of score. So again, I'm not a big attacking person, so the fact that I can do all this other stuff, big plus for me. Again, second place. Hello.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what I thought of the game. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and, like, Jen didn't score points from when we scored a location until, like, halfway through the game.
That's true.
But all of her points came from
second.
pages. So there's a lot of ways to go with your strategy. I thought it was great. I enjoyed it. I agree with Ryan that the ending was a little bit too abrupt. But
Felt like it was a race to the end, even though there was no need for
Right.
that.
Right.
yeah, it was like we were all trying to okay, we got to get this last monster out. I like the scrolls adding the permanent effects, and I like that there's a small deck of them, so you'll get a different configuration whenever you play. Yeah, with 4, I thought it was great.
Yeah, which is the maximum player count. It plays 2 to
Yeah.
4 players, and
Yeah, I can't see a
it was pretty
2-player being all that great. 3, I feel like you still might even be a little bit
2 players wasn't bad.
lacking.
2 players isn't bad.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it played great with 4. So
I kind of wanted to jump off a point with you about the abrupt ending, because the way our game ended was Jen ending it, and it kind of is cool to kind of have that power of like the opportunity for me to at the time that you entered the game, you were last in scoring. At the time that you ended the game, you were last in scoring, and then you were just like, well, screw it, and then you wound up being in second place. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, Jen doesn't win.
But I wasn't last.
But not last. We're not going to spoil the rest of the scoring for you. I guess we are.
well, yeah, we said it before this.
Yeah,
that
we're
we were
doing
gonna
the-
go in order.
Whatever.
Oh, yeah, true. There is kind of that, like, that little bit of tension where, like, somebody who can be in desperation mode can be like, do I want to get a couple of more points and then see if I trigger the end game, or do I just want to, like, do it now and see where I end up? And you were, like, really far behind in points when you ended the game, and you wound up in second place.
Again, I had my pages.
Right. The
My
fact
backup.
that there are the other ways to score was actually, like, pretty cool. Like, I felt kind of safe that I had a set of map cards which gave me 12 points, which was a good enough buffer to keep me where I was. You had a complete set as well, right? It didn't help.
But one thing with the ending of the game is that if someone wanted to, they could math out and be like, "There's no reason for me to end it. I'm not winning. I got to keep going." So
Sure.
like it literally just goes down until the winner can end the game. So that
Basically, yeah.
if I had wanted to, for instance, I could have been like plus 12, plus 4, plus
Sure.
and then been like, "There's no point for me to end." So like it doesn't. The end just doesn't feel right for that way.
Yeah,
Right.
I've never really liked a game where it's a player decided ending. To like, with some exceptions, I prefer when there's a fixed ending to the game.
Yeah, like if it's a number of rounds until the end, or there is a game condition to be met,
And then that person wins.
and then either that person wins or you finish out the round and then you calculate points, which is kind of like almost a more democratic-ish.
Right, but even that
way
way,
of
you can still
ending
have
things.
like, well, they can still gain points on me, so there's still no reason for me to end it.
Sure.
Like that.
Yeah.
I think there could have been
Unless
something
like you have perfect information.
Well, you do have perfect information in this game, though.
In this game, yeah, but
Yeah.
in like other games, you might not.
Right, like in a small world, you might not know if it did end in a different way. You might not know like how many points this person had. You'd be like, I think I'm doing pretty well, so I'll end it. But like this,
Yeah.
like I could literally count points, and be like, I'm losing. I'm
Sure.
never gonna end
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
So that was my complaint with the ending.
But that's also like kind of a good thing for the game, where like the leader can be like,
I have to go for.
I
Gates.
have to end this game, or else somebody else might have the opportunity to overtake me.
Right, because second place might be like, if I complete a gate, I will overtake. Like
Right,
so,
yeah.
there is. Not that everyone's gonna sit there and
like
actually
towards the
math
end-
out the end.
Towards the end, I was like kind of thinking to myself, if I had gotten another turn, which I didn't, was like, okay, I'm going to just like throw away the rune and extra map cards that I have for points, just in case. Like that happened. It wasn't necessary, but it was
Right.
that thing,
I also didn't like.
because I wasn't at all in a position to end the game. I had like one gate card.
Right, so you were just like, I'm just gonna have to keep gaining points and hope no one passes me
Right.
until the end gets triggered. So theoretically, we should have kept playing until you ended the game. So like, it's just
I like when I get attention.
yeah, it's just it's weird. I didn't.
It
Also,
is really weird.
Yeah, I didn't particularly like swapping the first player that way, because then like first player had like 7 turns in between them before they went again.
That's
It
true.
felt like you were at a significant disadvantage for no real
Yeah.
benefit.
Yeah.
Because, like, you got to choose, like, sane or insane, but then, like, a whole turn went with people screwing up your stuff, and then they get to choose sane or insane again, and then a whole turn goes...
Yeah,
Like-
and even
I
with
get that.
you, and even with you choosing sane or insane with desperation tokens, someone
Yeah,
can just
people would be
flip
like,
it any-
Yeah.
whatever, I don't want that. And then,
Yeah.
like, well, I didn't... Like, oh, I don't want them to grab Gates, so I'm going to go sane, and then too bad.
Yeah.
You know, so, like, it made it feel longer than it actually was to me, because I felt like I was sitting there going, like, I can't even really be planning out my turn because things are going to change. Like, there's...
Well, then I feel like that may have been the reason why the desperation tokens were kind of like put in there, for that specific
Definitely.
reason of flipping things. Like
Oh, I
somebody,
love
like,
the desperation tokens.
I
love
absolutely love them. They're definitely a game changer in a respect, because if you spend a certain amount of desperation tokens, you actually get to flip the sanity and sanity token to the side that you want to play, and then the round continues with the side that you chose versus the first player. I will say that I played this game with 2 players, and that was kind of a concern for me, because like one person is the first player, the second player
goes twice.
gets 4 turns in a row, essentially gets to play 4 cards
Yeah.
in a row.
That makes sense.
And since the game's kind of a race to the end, the first player actually has a significant disadvantage in a 2-player game.
A little bit. I will say that I was still the first player in that game from the start, and I still won.
You can always
By a
overcome
couple of points, but what I will say, as the contrary point to that, the fact that the pages, the runes, the maps, and the scrolls add enough variance to the game to the point where you can be, because we only saw 3 of the cards.
Right.
I mean, there's only like 7.
There's
isn't
only
there?
7.
There's only 7.
Yeah, there are only.
I mean, that's good that they kind of
Some
made
of them
it,
are
like,
endgame cards. So,
balanced-ish, but-
as a bit of a spoiler alert, One of them is like the person who has the most pages scores an extra 5 points.
Man.
The person who has the most runes scores an extra 5 points. Or things like that. There's like extra bonuses, or when you play certain other cards, you get to do a certain other action as well. So it varies, and you can reveal them randomly. You don't have to go in the order of left to right. Whoever unlocks that monstrosity gets to flip over whatever card. Not that makes any difference, because
it's still
random.
random.
But those make a difference, and as well as the pages, if you can manage to get them in a sequential order with fewer players, it's obviously easier to do that. And then the runes, just being runes.
Mm-hmm. I would have to give it another try, though, to see how my final thoughts are, because I could have played it really poorly.
I mean, this is only a first impression.
Yeah, exactly. Because I did feel... I'm not a big fan of take that, because I feel...
Yeah.
I personally feel always, like, attacked. Like, and that's not, like, a good feeling in a board game, is
Sure.
to feel like you're being targeted for no reason.
Yeah.
Not that there wasn't a good reason, but, like, it...
there was totally a good reason.
Yeah. But when you're getting, like, swapped, like, I don't particularly like that action.
100%.
Yeah, like, that's too much of just like, oh, I'm getting a lot of points and now I'm getting nothing because someone targeted me as opposed to the... Like, that doesn't... I don't particularly like those kind of games. So, like, that didn't really sit
I agree.
well.
I 100% agree.
But again, I could have, like Jen did, focused elsewhere. I could have been like, well, you know what? Screw going after that stuff. I'll just... Because what Jen did was stock up in one so that no one really went after her, because, like, why bother? She's still way in first.
Sure.
So that might have been better than, like, hedging my bets and going, like, 1 and 2 and stuff.
Sure.
So I'm interested to see if, like, that would maybe solve the issue where, like, it's not worth swapping with me. Going for more of this stuff on your board where people can't affect...
The thing is, you were hedging your bets in such a way that
it was perfect for everyone to, like, remove me.
That it was like... No, that's logical. That'll finish. That'll finish, and that'll finish, and that'll finish.
Right. So it was like the smart move on my point, but it was smart move for
something has to. You need to. I need you to not be here.
Right.
I need you to calm down and take fewer points.
Right. So I need to see how it feels not doing that.
The other thing with that, the flip side of that is if you do hedge your bets and have your people all over the map.
Oh, I would have gotten a lot of points if no one had removed me.
But no. But here's the thing. No matter if you're first, second, or third, if you complete the gate for the area that you're in, you're going to get more points than whatever the area scores.
True.
Plus whatever you get.
Being removed completely from the top 3 is killer, though.
It's not, though.
You get more points than first, but, like, by 3, you could have basically doubled them. Like, that's...
Yeah. You were... No. I'm not saying that, like...
Just pure numbers-wise, yes.
But if you were third, for example, chances are that nobody's going to mess with you. Chances are significantly less.
It depends on the number of things that are out there. Because if I have 2, you're going to mess with me so that you automatically get third also.
Yeah.
Not that it... But then I'm in a position where someone else could remove me totally. Like, it's...
Yeah, or like if you were in third with one investigator on that spot and I didn't have any, now I swap with you.
Right, now you're in third. You're not sharing points with me.
Exactly.
I'm done. Like, there is plenty of reasons to get screwed as third. I think there's less to get screwed as first because it's just like, well, she's way in first. Even if I remove, like, 2, she's still getting first points. It's not worth it. I'll remove someone else, like, lower.
Again, yeah.
So, like...
It kind of depends on the situation, though. Because I think that if... I feel like... So, I feel like if you were third and you, say, only had, like, 1, 2, or 0 cards going towards getting that gate together, it's less worth it to get it to you, because once that gate scores, you're going to get the minimum amount of points, besides 0. So... you're not nearly as much of a threat as, say, the person who has 4 cards and a majority. And once they trigger it, even if they're first, second, or third, they're going to get more points than anybody else in that area.
Right, so it's better for you to trigger it, at least take half their points by grabbing a monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
So there's kind of that dichotomy, which is actually a positive for the game.
That is something I like. I don't dislike the game. I need to see a second playthrough.
Sure.
I don't think one was enough for me because of how the
absolutely.
board was
Yeah,
ended up.
first
Totally
impressions.
fine. Oops.
Ooh, dear.
Yeah, again, this is just the first impression. This isn't a straight through review.
As of right now, I'm okay. Like, I like the artwork. I actually like building out like the gates. Like that's a cool thing. Like I actually really enjoy like that.
Components were good.
Yeah, like I mean, even it's nice and glossy. Like
It's pretty.
And then the
Pretty.
components were that matte finish, which I really like.
yes.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely in the boat. Like I will try it again, but right now I'm just like it's okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Any final first thoughts?
It was pretty.
It's pretty.
All right.
Yeah, I liked it. So that's our first thoughts. Take from it what you will. We'll probably be playing it on the stream, I guess, at some point, eventually, soon-ish. But in order for you to see that playthrough,
Not right now.
but in order for you to see that, but in order for you to see that, you should give us a follow on Twitch, where we do most of our content. We do like a solid 90% of our content on Twitch, twitch.tv/thewholecard. Make sure to also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, where we have announcements for certain things, upcoming events, and other things that we're doing in our streaming life. Make sure to give us a follow, hit the bell, and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. Give us a follow on Twitch to make sure that you are get notified of when we go live, so that you can watch us play things live. And until then, you have just watched James, Jen, Tim, and Ryan give their first impressions of Gates of Delirium from Renegade Game Studios. Thank you guys so much for watching. Now go play.